Most Kailua homes in this price range give you 4 walls and a backyard. What is behind this home is what most buyers don't see coming. This home gives you a whole another building. In this walkthrough, let me deliver on what is behind this Kailua home, because that second building changes the math here in ways most buyers in Kailua do not always pay attention to. Plus, the Keolu Hills market itself is doing something unusual right now. We will get into all of it. Let's start inside. What you notice first is the light. The home sits on a 6,300 square feet lot in Keolu Hills, which is a quieter pocket of Kailua, off the main commercial roads, sitting up against the green of the hills. To orient you, Keolu Hills sits roughly between Enchanted Lake and Olomana. Most of the homes here were built in the 50s and 60s as part of a single-family development push on this side of Oahu, which means the original housing stock is fairly consistent in scale and era. What is happening now is a wave of those original homes getting fully renovated or rebuilt. This is one of them. The renovation is fresh, finished in 2026. The original structure went up in 1954, so what you're walking through is essentially a 70-year-old shell with a fully renovated interior, all new mechanical systems, and a complete finishing layer redone. One story throughout, which is rare for a layout this size in this part of the island. First room on the right, staged as an office right now, but it could function as a bedroom. Same room either way, built-in lighting, a closet, and a green view out the window. That green out the window moment is going to repeat throughout this home. The hills behind do most of the work for the natural setting, and you can feel it the second you walk in. Now into the main living space. Open layout, connected to dining and kitchen. Modern flow, not the chopped-up ranch layout most 1954 homes have. That is the renovation showing. Let me give you a context layer here. Keolu Hills has been quietly outperforming the rest of Kailua and the rest of Oahu on price for a while now. The 12-month median sale price for single-family in this neighborhood is around $1.44 million. Across the entire Oahu MLS, the 12-month median is closer to $1.13. That is roughly a $300,000 premium for being inside this specific neighborhood. And the gap is widening. Keolu Hills appreciated about 8.3% year over year. The island as a whole is at about 2.7, so this neighborhood is moving at 3 times the broader market's appreciation pace. The dining area has open shelves and a built-in wine fridge, so the entertaining setup runs from this counter all the way through the kitchen behind it. Massive waterfall island anchors the kitchen. The countertop wraps down both sides. That is the waterfall edge, and it is a finished detail that does not exist in most homes from this era unless they have been substantially remodeled. The hood is hidden behind a panel above the cooktop, which keeps the upper kitchen visually clean. If Kailua, Keolu Hills, or any neighborhood on Oahu is on your radar, head to the link in the description. I do private walkthroughs in person on Oahu or full virtual ones if you are watching from the mainland. Not the glossy listing version, the actual home, the actual street, the actual data. Submit your request through the link or just text or email me directly. Two-tone cabinetry, dark on the bottom, white on top. Current style, not trendy in a way that will date in 2 years. Through the kitchen, there is a sliding door to the backyard and to the guest cottage, but we are coming back to that. The cottage is the part of this listing that actually changes how you should think about the price. Let me take a moment to layer in some Keolu Hills market context here, because this is a good time for it. The neighborhood's 12-month appreciation rate is around 8.3%. Across Oahu as a whole, that number is closer to 2.7. So this micro-market is moving at about 3 times the broader island pace, and the gap has been widening, not closing. Here is the primary bedroom, spacious for a Kailua home from 1954. Split AC like every room in this home, looking out toward the backyard. The renovation finished in 2026, and the design choices throughout, the lighting, the storage, the finish quality, feel considered rather than rushed. Quick data layer to land here too. Median time on market for Keolu Hills homes over the trailing 12 months is around 15 days. The rest of Oahu sits closer to 23. So homes here are selling about a third faster than the broader market. Practically, as a buyer, you do not have weeks to think about a Keolu Hills listing once it hits. The home is already getting offers before you have processed the photos. That is the rhythm of this neighborhood right now. Quick zoning note while we walk. This lot is zoned R7.5 residential. That zoning designation calls for a minimum lot size of 7,500 square feet on any new subdivision. The lot under this home is actually 6,300 square feet, which is smaller than today's R7.5 minimum. That is allowed because the lot was platted decades ago, before the current zoning rules took effect. You will see a lot of original Keolu Hills lots like this one. They are legal non-conforming lots, fully buildable, just smaller than what a new subdivision would have to meet today. That is part of why the lot sizes vary so much across this neighborhood. R7.5 lots tend to feel a little more spacious than the more common R5 you see in much of Honolulu and even in some other pockets like Coconut Grove. Useful context when you're comparing what you actually own across different neighborhoods. Walking out, look at this wall pattern. It has a Mediterranean feel. Spain or Portugal kind of feel, which is unusual for a Kailua remodel and gives the hallway some personality. Next bedroom in here, same pattern as the others. Green out the window even though the property line is close. That is part of why landscaping in Keolu Hills works so well. You do not have to do much, the hills do it for you. From this window, you can also see the guest cottage we will look at in a few minutes. Closet has a light in it, which you will see is a thoughtful theme throughout this home. Every closet has dedicated lighting. Small thing, but it is the kind of detail you notice when you actually live somewhere. These two bedrooms share the next bathroom. Different from the primary in that this one has a tub, not a shower, so the home actually has both. Shower in the primary, tub here. One sink, large rain head, and a storage closet built right in for linens, which is again lit. Now another data layer. Closed sales in Keolu Hills are up about 15% year over year. The rest of the Oahu market is up around 2.8% on the same window. So it is not just that this neighborhood is appreciating faster. More transactions are actually happening. People are buying in here. That distinction matters because some neighborhoods have rising prices but very thin transaction volume, which makes it harder to gauge what is really selling. Keolu Hills is showing both price growth and activity. Compare that to the Coconut Grove videos I covered recently. Coconut Grove has been doing similar appreciation but on much more inventory volume. Keolu Hills is the smaller, tighter version of that same story. Last bedroom on this side currently set with 2 twin beds. Could be a flex room, a guest space, an office. Same green out the window setup, same light in the closet theme, same split AC. Sellers in Keolu Hills are getting about 100% of list price across the trailing 3, 6, and 12-month windows. The headline looks clean, but it does not tell you the whole story of what is happening at the closing table. The list-to-sale ratio is the number you usually see quoted. It tells you whether sellers are getting their asking price. 1 million list, 1 million sale ratio is 100%. Keolu Hills sits right at the top of that range, and Oahu as a whole sits in the same neighborhood. So at face value, sellers in this Kailua market are not negotiating down. Now here is the part that summary does not include. List-to-sale ratio does not capture seller concessions. Concessions are money the seller hands back at closing. Credits toward closing costs, repair allowances, rate buy-downs. Even in a seller's market like Keolu Hills, concessions happen. Out of the 37 Keolu Hills sales over the last 365 days, at least 5 included disclosed concessions. The biggest was $100,000 given back on a $1.75 million home. Others ran from $3,000 to $45,000. So when this neighborhood reports full asking prices, that is only part of the real story. That is the guest cottage. Most homes on this side of Kailua at this price band do not have a second structure on the lot. This one does. Let me walk you through what is actually inside it because the legal classification matters as much as the physical space, and most listings get this part wrong if you do not know what to look for. Now, here is the legal layer, and this is important. The MLS lists this Keolu Hills home as a 5-bedroom. The listing agent has actually called this out directly. The guest studio does not count as a 5th bedroom in the official sense. Under Hawaii standards, a room generally needs a closet to be counted as a bedroom. This studio has a kitchenette, a bathroom, AC, and a shower, but no closet. So functionally, this is a 4-bedroom main home plus a fully equipped guest cottage. That is the honest read. Inside the cottage, it is small, but it is fully finished. It is a year-round usable space, not just a weekend retreat. There is a kitchenette in here, small bar setup, wine fridge built in, prep counter. So somebody could absolutely live in this space short-term or set it up as a home office. The backsplash has that Mediterranean tile pattern that matches the wall in the main home. Same designer thinking carried through. Bathroom inside the cottage has a really cool linear drain, full shower with the same spa feel finishes as the main home. The Hawaii market has a name for this kind of separate structure when it is permitted as full living quarters, an ohana unit. Honolulu has specific rules about what makes something an ohana, including utility connections, kitchen requirements, minimum lot size, and parking. This space looks and feels like an ohana unit in everything except the official permit category. As a buyer, that distinction matters because it affects what you can do with the space. Short-term rental restrictions, long-term rental potential, and how it impacts your home's resale value down the line. The MLS lists this as a guest house studio with kitchenette, which is the conservative legal description. If you're planning to use it for income, get the permitted status verified before you write your offer. If you're using it as a personal flex space, you have a beautifully finished separate building to work with. A separately accessible space like this on a Keolu Hills lot at this price point is rare. Buyers shopping the high 1,700,000s in Kailua usually have to choose between a bigger main house or any kind of secondary structure. This home gives you both, just not at the same scale you would get if you went up another 500,000. Whether that trade is worth it depends on how much you actually value separate space. For a long-term guest, a remote work setup that needs separation, a creative studio, or simply a buffer between the main house and the rest of life. Now, one more market layer to land before we wrap. Keolu Hills has about 1.5 months of supply on the trailing 12 months. The rest of Oahu sits at about 3.7. Anything under 3 months of supply is seller's market territory by definition. 3 to 6 is balanced. Over 6 tilts to buyers. So Keolu Hills is in deep seller's market territory, while the broader island is right at the edge between sellers and balanced. What that means at the offer table is, in this neighborhood, you are the one needing to bring a competitive offer. Sellers have leverage. Practically, that means you do not have the luxury of a long house hunting period. If you have been buying in a softer Oahu market the last few years, the negotiation dynamic in Keolu Hills will feel different. This is where having an agent who knows the real comps and the rhythm of this specific Kailua pocket actually matters. The laundry room has full-size washer and dryer, plenty of cabinets, smaller utility sink. Storage that is actually useful, not just for show. Garage is a 2-car with EV charging already installed. EV charging is a real cost saver if you would have otherwise had to pay an electrician to add it, which on Oahu typically runs a couple $1,000s depending on your panel and routing. It is also a real value add if you're planning ahead for an electric vehicle, even if you do not own one yet. If you want a private walkthrough on this home or any other property, click the link in the description and submit your request, or text or email me directly. Putting it all together, this Keolu Hills home gives you a renovated 4-bedroom main house plus a finished guest cottage on a tight Kailua lot in a micro market that is outpacing the rest of Oahu on price, speed, and seller leverage. The price point at $1.78 million reflects all of that. It sits above the neighborhood median, but the second structure on the lot and the depth of the renovation are what carry the asking price. I'm Oksana with Island Living Oahu at Keller Williams. Reach out, and I will see you on the next one.